Hi everyone, we are going to talk about the Dodge Burn and Sponge tool. Sometimes in your photograph you might need to lighten an area or darken a specific area, or you might just want to bring out a little bit of brightness and color in a picture. You should have watched the video on how to set up Photoshop, so you have your navigator open. You'll need the navigator so that we can zoom in a little bit on the picture. You also should have your history open and your layers open so you can see what you've been doing and making sure you're on the right layer. The Dodge tool, if you look in your tool container, let's see, where's my Dodge? That's funny, where is it? Hi everyone, this tutorial is going to walk you through how to use the Dodge Burn and Sponge tool. In Photoshop, make sure you have your navigator open. If you don't, go back and watch the video on how to set up Photoshop. You can also find it under Windows Navigator. And make sure you also have your history open so you can see what you're doing. The first tool we're going to use is the Dodge tool, and that is towards the bottom. You can right click and see the Dodge, the Burn, and the Sponge tool all share the same spot. The Dodge tool is used for areas when you want to lighten an area. So if Rufus was a little shadowed or dark, I could lighten up his face a little bit. If you look on your key bar to the right of the letter P are some brackets, and we can use those brackets to either enlarge or shrink down the size of our brush. So Rufus and Nora look pretty good. Nobody's too light or too dark, but just to show you an effect, the Dodge tool, if I want to lighten up Rufus's face a little bit, I could have that circle about the size of his face. Up at the top, maybe I want to lighten up some of the shadows a little bit. I could do the midtones or the highlights. And you also want to make sure the exposure is maybe 50 to 25%. I wouldn't go any higher, maybe 30%, that's right in the middle. And if I click once or twice, I can just lighten up a few areas on the picture. Again, this is just a nice way to kind of lighten certain areas of the picture that might be dark. If I right click, the Burn tool is the actual opposite. So if I want to darken Nora's face a little bit, I could make the circle the size of her face. Again, make sure maybe I want to do highlights. I just want to tone those down a little bit. I'm going to bring it down to 30% again. And I'm going to click once, maybe twice. That darkens her face a little bit. Just darken a few areas that maybe are a little bright. The Sponge tool also shares a spot with the Dodge and the Burn. Again, you can change it. You want to make sure that when you're using the sponge, you want to saturate, so bring out the color. Again, I turn it down to about 30%. And I'm just going to saturate a little bit of the color. We'll make Nora's switcher look nice and bright. Again, not too much, but just a little bit. My picture's kind of pixelated. Maybe brighten Rufus's tone a little bit, but bring out a little bit of the color. So in your history, you can see here's where we started from, and then with the dodging, burning, and using the sponge, here's where we ended. Again, make sure when you are done editing a photograph to press Save As, save your picture as edited, and save. Do we want to replace it? Yes, because we have made some new changes. There you go.